So our panelists are Kristin Link from Sew Mama Sew, Heather Givans from Crimson Tape, Becky Goldsmith, Piece of Cake Designs, and Angela Walters of Angela Walters. My first question is for Heather. What motivated you to get into the quilting sewing industry?
So the question is, how did I end up in this industry? And quite, like, the short of the story is, it happened a little bit by chance. I have a degree in art. I'm a printmaker and a painter, and I taught high school art for 10 years, and that doesn't seem like a path like to bring you into the quilting industry, but my mom revealed to me a 30-year dream of wanting to learn to quilt, and I took her to a quilt camp and thought, I don't want to do that, but I'll do it anyway, because I'm a good daughter, and obviously, I loved it. It worked with my creative process, and so I'm a little bit of an obsessive personality, so I went real deep, made tons of quilts, and really found inspiration in it. And one thing led to another. I started a wholesale sewing business, which still continues now, which a lot of people don't necessarily know about, just because it doesn't really relate so much to our specific industry. So it's still trucking, and that became so big that I needed to stop teaching in order to focus on that handmade business that then spurned into a fabric store, which is now Crimson Tape in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that's where I hang out all day, every day, making stuff, and now I design fabric for Wyndham Fabrics, and we have quilt patterns, so it's like a big old snowball, like once you work really hard.
For Angela, what are some of your go-to online resources or helpful tips to run your online business?
So the online store is a new kind of development for me, and really that started when I started writing books. As an author, being able to sell your own signed copies is a really good way to make money. And so the online store started with my first book and then my second book. And as I started designing fabric and stuff, I realized that I needed to treat it like an online store. So 3 of my favorite places to go, one of them is Flipboard, where it's kind of like a Pinterest with articles that are online. And so I try to read articles about other businesses and what they're doing. And then secondly, I like to go to clothing websites, not just to go shopping. Definitely not. But I like to see how they arrange their product on there, because clothing websites have a lot of SKUs, like fabric, and like I would with fabric and product and stuff. And thirdly, and most surprisingly probably, I love to go to the promotion folder on my Gmail and read the ad emails that come through and see what headlines grab my attention, what are good newsletter headlines to use, because if it snaps up my attention, it probably would snap up another quilter's attention.
Okay, great. And Kristin, the same question for you. What are some of your go-to online resources for helpful tips to run your online business?
Okay, well, this is where I get into self-promotion here. So I have Sew Mama Sew, which is a blog celebrating our 11-year anniversary this month. And but also, last year I launched a new business called Craft Industry Alliance, and it's a trade organization for craft professionals. And the reason that my partner and I, Abby Goldsmith, we started that because we really felt like there was a lack of resources for people to find really good information about running a craft business. Not just the craft part of it, but just the business part of it. So Craft Industry Alliance is our interpretation of what was missing. And so we have a journal and we have forums, and everybody that's a member, we have over 800 members now, and they're all craft professionals, either makers or bloggers, or somehow they're involved in the industry. So there's that. I do use I still visit the Etsy blog. I think they always have really good articles. Etsy forums are helpful. I follow some marketing people like Seth Godin, and Megan O'Toole is a really helpful social media person that I follow all the time. I've really pared that list down as much as I can over the years. There's just so much information, but yeah, those are my favorites.
Becky, tips, ideas, or processes for creating content, photography, writing, etc. for your website and for your blog?
I use social media as a way to stay in touch personally with the people that follow me. I think it's really important to know those people and to understand who your following is. My following doesn't really want to see me post commercials all the time. And so when I travel and I see people in classes or I meet them, they know what's going on with my family. They know because I share what I choose to share, not everything. And I try not to be overly sugary in my posting because I think people appreciate knowing the real you. I've learned how to take better photographs so that when I post, I'm posting intentionally with good photographs that show what I mean. I think really the most important thing is to know your audience and write to them. And when you write, think about them as your friend, not as your customer necessarily.